Hague for a crucial summit, with defence spending taking centre stage. Allies are expected to back a new target of 5% of GDP, a key demand by US President Donald Trump, as global security threats intensify. Meanwhile, Trump, ahead of the NATO summit, says he's ready to face a new set of problems, but he's stopping short of backing NATO's core defence pledge. Trump called Article 5 of NATO open to numerous definitions, saying he's committed to friendship, helping allies and saving lives. He promised to explain his position, but not on the back of an airplane. Let's take a listen in to what Trump said.
Now we're going to NATO, and we'll get a new set of problems. We'll solve a new set of problems. Numerous definitions of Article 5, you know that, right? But I'm committed to being their friends. You know, I've become friends with many of those leaders, and I'm committed to helping them.
Meanwhile, the summit began with a formal dinner hosted by the Dutch royal family, followed by a group photo ahead of the high-stakes talks. Mark Rutte has kept the summit focused on spending and even accepting a diplomatic compromise with Spain, which opposes the 5% target. Rutte also privately praised Trump for his decisive action in Iran, seeking to keep President Trump engaged. Let's take a listen in to what Mark Rutte said.
Today, I am pleased to announce that NATO has already added an additional $1 trillion in defense spending over the past decade. Mr. President, dear Donald, that is thanks to you pushing us. And tomorrow we will build on that foundation and add trillions more in defense spending, because we need to do this.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, speaking on the sidelines, warned that Putin only thinks about war and held bilateral talks with French President Emmanuel Macron to rally support. Zelensky attended a pre-summit dinner and he's hoping to secure more weapons and tougher sanctions on Moscow. Meanwhile, the Kremlin accused NATO of militarizing Europe and using Russia as a scare tactic to justify defense hikes. In a major defence announcement, the United Kingdom confirmed plans to reintroduce nuclear-capable aircraft under NATO command, signalling a significant military upgrade and amid escalating regional tensions. Meanwhile, President Trump also met Turkish President Erdogan on the sidelines of the NATO summit, calling for deeper cooperation in defence. Erdogan said boosting defence ties could help reach $100 billion in trade deficit target between Turkey and the United States. He also stressed the two countries have a strong potential in energy and in investment sectors. We're now joined by Dr. Satoru Nagao, who's a fellow at the Hudson Institute located in Tokyo, Japan, to discuss this in more detail. Dr. Nagao, thank you very much for joining us. This NATO summit has kicked off. There's been a lot of talks on the group fracturing. Do you think, what do you think of the state of NATO right now, the discourse between the countries? Is it becoming more and more divided with a more politically unstable world?
Yes, of course, the answer is yes and no in this case. But simply said, European increasing their defense budget is welcome news. Because lack of the budget, NATO cannot be strong, and without the image of the strength, they cannot maintain their organization. Because NATO is strong enough to deter Russia or other threat, that's why people want to join NATO. So without this, they cannot be strong. So that's why the increasing the defense budget itself is very welcome news. A little bit concern is that this time, originally the NATO inviting the three leaders of the three nations which located in the Pacific: Japan, South Korea, and Australia. But all of three canceled to visit the NATO summit. Because most of the NATO countries agreed to increase their defense budget to the 5% of the GDP, But same demand came from the United States, but three countries in the Indo-Pacific cannot increase their defense budget such kind of the high level. 5% is one kind of the dreams these three countries believe. So under such kind of situation, these three countries cannot join the NATO summit. But without these countries, NATO cannot interest in China. So that's why to deal with the rising China, coordination between the Asian ally and NATO, all of these US circles should coordinate their move. They should integrate their move. But in this NATO summit, they cannot show such kind of message to the world. That is one part, unfortunate part.
Yes, and Dr. Nagel, what do you think on Donald Trump's stance on NATO? Some analysts are saying this summit is all about him and his demands. Donald Trump was very outspoken about the need for the rest of the NATO members to up their defence spending, and now it seems to have happened, apart from Spain, who have signed that deal. Before he arrived, he said he was going to NATO to face a new set of problems. What do you think of Donald Trump's stance on the North Atlantic Treaty Organization?
View from the increasing the defense budget of the European country, he succeeded because this demand originally came from the end of the Obama administration. So first Trump administration, Biden administration, now second Trump administration. It has reached now. This means that Trump's push contributes a lot. But to persuade the European country, United States stance is we cannot protect you. This message is a little bit controversial. Yes, he succeeded to persuade Europe to increase the defense budget, but at the same time, he needs to recover the trust again in the later. So that is homework for him in the future, I believe.
We also saw Zelensky at the NATO summit, Dr. Nagel, and he's warned that he's continued to ask for sanctions on Moscow, and obviously he's continued his rhetoric about Putin wanting to continue this now 3-year war. What are your thoughts on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's presence on the sidelines of the NATO summit?
Ukraine's presence is a very good thing, I think. And at the same time, President Trump hasn't gave up to seek the ceasefire in Russia and Ukraine just now. So that's why he hasn't imposed a very strong sanction against Russia just now. But when the sanction comes, this means that President Trump gave up this. Generally, most of the war duration is 4 years. And this year is third year, and we are entering fourth year. So, view from this pattern in the past, there's a possibility we'll fight 1 more year. So that's why there's a possibility in the future the U.S. agree to impose a more stronger sanction against Russia, I believe. Thank you.
Dr.